Hello and welcome to How to Invest in Property Using Your Super. Let us help you to buy your next property using your superannuation funds. So I am Jeannie and you've also got Enrique in the room. I am Enrique's admin here to help today. So let's get started. So I'd first like to introduce Enrique. So he is the founder of Investor Property Solutions. He has over 16 years of experience as a property investment specialist. He is on a mission to transform the way everyday Australians invest in their super. You can see he has lots of feathers in his cap. So you can kind of read these in your own time. But I will point out that Enrique also speaks Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, and English. A little intimidating if you ask me. And I would love to get Enrique to share with you a little bit of what I call his brand story. So it's how he ended up doing what he does now. And it really comes from his background growing up in Peru. So Enrique, I would love to ask you just a little bit about how you ended up in financial services, helping Aussies to buy property. You've been really a keen property investor yourself for many, many years. So tell us, growing up in Peru, a bit about who raised you and how she helped 50 of your family migrate from Peru to New Zealand.
Hi, Jeannie. Thank you for that lovely introduction. Well, that's right. I was born in Lima in Peru, and I was raised by a single mother who understood pretty well that the power of property, of course. Bit of the story goes where she was a teenager and she found herself in a bad situation where her parents lost the family home, of course, and they struggled for a little while. But she promised herself that that was never going to be her case, that she was going to help her whole family going ahead and provide, obviously, housing. And that's exactly what she did. She went into financial services. And I guess that working in a bank for about 30 years, she managed to accumulate quite a bit of wealth, basically with property investment as well. So initially, she bought her first house, which was a two-story house, actually. And with a bit of effort and a few years after that, she ended up having a beautiful four-story house where she basically accommodate all her family there. And then she started to buy in different places as well. So with that itself, she managed to help about 50 of our family members immigrating to New Zealand. So the rest, of course, is history. I took on her own mission myself and decided that with that knowledge, with that experience, I could help Australians getting into property investment to not only improve their own financial situation, but also the families as well. So that's why I found Investor Property Solutions and specialize in superannuation investment, but I have done over a decade of investment outside superannuation as well. So a interesting story, but yes, that's what we're here right now.
Yep, and Enrique does help you inside and outside super investing in property. But it's amazing to me because with a mum who worked in financial services and built her wealth and gave her family the life she gave them through buying property, and you've come full circle. And I know personally that while you help all Aussies, you have a passion for helping women and particularly mums to acquire property.
Right.
Yeah, to acquire property. And what you found is, through telling me your story, that whilst at times buying property outside of super could be difficult, that some of the women that you helped were able to acquire property inside super. So I think, I just love hearing where you've come from and how you've ended up doing what you're doing. So thank you so much for that.
Wonderful.
Okay, so I just would like you, while you're watching this event, just to ask yourself, why did you come here today? Okay, so investing in property with super is simple but not easy. Okay, so you do need specialized knowledge and a team of licensed professionals to help you make the right decision. And I know when I found this out, it was really interesting to me, because actually I'm an accountant, and I was under the impression that I couldn't really do this because it's hard. I'd asked my accountant and he said, oh, it's hard. Yeah. So what I found out is a lot of accountants will, firstly, they're not actually licensed to discuss it, so they can't really discuss it with you. And secondly, it actually does require a team of experts to make it happen. So it's simple, but simple doesn't always mean easy. And Enrique is an extraordinary project manager with an extraordinary team who makes it happen and makes it feel quite effortless. So that's a little bit about that. So yeah, why did you come here today? For most of us Aussies, we all have a dream of owning property, okay? So generally it's our dream of owning property, and the idea that we could perhaps use our super to do that. I know when I found out that was possible, I was really excited, and I'm going through the process right now with Enrique to buy property with my super. For me, I'm one of the people who, because you're either eligible or you're going to be eligible with a bit of admin and a bit of time, or you're not eligible. But most people are either eligible or we can help them get eligible. And I'm in that camp B, yeah? So I'm not too far off. I think in the new financial year, I will be eligible, and Enrique will be picking me a great property from somewhere in Australia to invest in. And I'll be on my way to having my super stop sitting in a fund, almost going backwards, and back in control and having more property, because I've got property now, which is really exciting. So traditional investment in super, right, versus property. So I'm a great example of that. So I've had my super personally sitting in AMP. And I have actually, at one stage, I had it in the risky portfolio. And then somebody said, oh, I don't know about this economy. You better pop it in the safe portfolio. And there's so many fees and charges, but also it's actually quite confusing. I don't know what's going on. All I know is that I get probably less return than I would if it was in a bank. And so it feels, I get really kind of annoyed because there's all this money there. I can't touch it. I don't get to choose where it goes. So with that money there, it's not doing anything. Whereas I know 100%, if I could take that money and put it into property, I am a property owner. Yeah, I just made the most amazing gains in the last 12 months through buying and selling property myself. And so I know that property on average, in all my years, I'm 52, it tends to double every 10 to 15 years. As an accountant, I also know we get a double return, right? Unlike this money sitting in super that has been frustrating me, when you put your money into property, you're getting the capital gain, meaning every year your property is worth more, right? So let's say it's worth 5% more a year, and eventually there's what we call an exponential growth, like we saw in the GFC and we saw it in COVID. Whatever reason, the sky changes and we get I always think, I don't know, we pick something to say that was it. But history shows that every 10 to 15 years, the average property is kind of doubling if you wait it out. So that's about a 10% growth a year, but you get another 5% as a rental return. So you're getting that kind of 15% return overall, but you're able to get that leveraging borrowed money, right? So you can borrow money, buy a property, and get a 15% return on borrowed money. So as an accountant, for me too, I'll be honest, shares are a bit confusing, but bricks and mortar, property, it feels solid to me. Okay. So that's just a little bit about that. So the next thing I'd love to share with you based on how Enrique has educated me is exactly my story, right? Most Aussies don't realize that they can take control of their super and buy property with it. I was so excited when I found out. And that I don't have to wait till I'm 60, right? Because you look at that money, okay, I'm pushing uphill to 60, I'm 52, but you look at that money and you're like, I can't get my hands on it. So what I can do in that time by getting my hot little hands on my super is so exciting. So now you know that is really, really exciting.
Jeannie, just to add into that as well, I remember when I first arrived in Australia from Peru, of course. It was such a surprise for me to know that the government was actually committed to contribute towards your not only your superannuation but your retirement as well, through employers' contribution. Of course, that's something that never really happened ever in Peru or any other places in Latin America, for example. But it was incredible to also know that most Australians don't really understand how superannuation works. They don't even know the balances anyway. So I was so surprised, and I was just so eager to learn and to get more and to start accumulation superannuation myself, because it's a great tool to have. So even when I found out that that was possible to do, to invest in property using your super, that was it. I mean, I was just saving as much as I can, because it is really a good model that works. So completely understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, and absolutely. And honestly, when Enrique showed me, I was already putting my max contributions in, but this financial year, I'm putting as much as I can in. I can put a lot in over the last 2 years because I get a double tax savings, because we're talking about the tax savings. So for example, I'm going to put 27,500 this year into my super fund. And because I didn't do it last year, I'm an entrepreneur, my income can go up and down, right? So, but this year I can put those two contributions in. That will save me probably, it could save me about 20 to 25,000 on tax, probably 20,000 on tax. That's 20,000 that was going to go to the government in my pocket, right? By maxing out my super. So just sharing my experience as I'm a management accountant, not a tax accountant. But also there are a range of other tax savings that you get when you invest your super into property. Now, an example that Enrique shared with me, which I thought was really interesting, is when you buy a property and you tenant that property, so you rent it out, normally you get taxed on that income just like you get taxed on income. So if you're, for example, if that income is coming in at the top of $100,000 salary, you're getting taxed half of the income. Now, what I was shocked about is that when you buy a property in your super, so when I do that today and then I rent it out, the tax is 15%. I'm saving 30. Oh my goodness. Like, I still am like, really? And then Enrique shared with me a host of other tax savings, which is so exciting, because I was just excited I could invest my super in property. But there are tons of tax savings, including capital gains tax, but suffice to say, saving a lot of money. This one I'm really passionate about, the cost of inaction, because even as an accountant, I see the cost of inaction everywhere. And the cost of inaction, let me tell you right now, is so much higher than the cost of action. To invest your super into property, there's no out-of-pocket cost. There is a fee that comes out of the super fund, okay? But that fee, oh my goodness, for what you get is so low. And Enrique can share that with you on a phone call. But basically the cost of inaction. So I know personally, Enrique might share with you, because he's told me some, and I've got my favorite stories, and I love one. There's some real recent ones. So there's one where, Enrique, if you could share with us the property in Perth you told me about. I can't remember how many months ago it was.
That's right. Yes, I got a client who decided to invest his superannuation in property. And we went through the whole process. She was very happy. Again, a single mother, looking to secure the family as well. Once we've managed to do the whole assessment, we noticed that she was in a position to invest approximately $450,000 about 16 months ago. So by that time, a property consultant identified that WA, the Perth, was going to be the next spot to invest. And of course, if we realize what happened after that, moving forward another 16 months, we know that is basically the best performance capital city in the country. So the same property that she was going to purchase for $450,000, it is now $670,000. So she not only she missed out in over $100,000 in equity itself, but the fact that she also, you have to take in considerations the rental income, that it would have been close to approximately $25,000 to $30,000, and the tax deductions that she was also going to get out of that interest and all the costs associated with the investment. So she basically missed out in about $150,000 or more by simply just not making that decision there. She was trying to look for the perfect investment. And again, in a country of 15,000 postcodes, it's very, very difficult. So that was a very, very good example. She's obviously now desperate to trying to get something for now less than $400,000 because her borrowing capacity has also gone down. So her cost of inaction is huge. It's huge. And this is something that I always want to make sure that everybody is aware of this. So when you have the opportunity to invest and you tick all the boxes and then you're in a position to invest comfortably, I'll suggest take some action.
Absolutely, because I think in property you win some and you really win some, right? Enrique knows that I've last year I backed myself and went for it. I decided that I would make decisions without the the ear of family and friends, and I made a couple of property decisions. One in particular, family and friends really didn't think that I could do what I wanted to do, and they advised against it. But this time I backed myself and went for it. And the increase in my net worth has been incredible. And so I definitely would say that don't let fear, doubt, and indecision hold you back, because it's cost me a fortune over the years. And these days, I think, I know with property, when we get into it for the long term, it's hard to lose. But at the moment, property feels like it's going up and up and up. My property, one property I sold last year in Robina, less than 6 months after I sold it, it had gone up in its estimated value by 100,000. Luckily, I sold very well. And the property that I've moved in has gone up by $1 million in 2 years. So that is where you really win some. You win some or you really win some. Yeah. So I've always done very well in property. But definitely this property I'm in now has been the best financial decision that I ever made. And I made it super decisively, super quick. But being an accountant, the math was still there too. Okay. So it was a solid property that I could get, I knew that it was in a perfect location and I could get that return on investment. So the math is done for you behind the scenes. Okay. So
Wonderful.
on to just some client experiences. And before we share that, because we have got some reviews and you can see these also on the investor website. Okay. But we've talked about when clients don't take action and they delay and what it costs them. Like there's so many costs to delaying, right? But then Enrique's told me some where they do take action, and inside and outside super. And there's one story, this one was outside super. A lot of Enrique's clients will invest inside and outside super. And actually when he charges his fee initially, he doesn't ever charge again. So you get one fee, buy as many properties as you want, which I was like, what? But can you tell us the story of the property buyer in Varsity near the hospital? Because when he told me, I went, is there any more units left?
No, absolutely. Well, there was a story of the youngish couple aside, and they did actually have a bit of equity once they bought their home after COVID in an area in the Gold Coast called Coomera. Now, because we need to refinance the loans and they still have a very stable employment, we managed to basically extract a bit of equity from their home. And with that, we use it as a deposit for a property in Varsity Lakes of $580,000. Now, there was a bit of fortune there because they purchased a unit of basically 2 apartments on one title. And after we organized absolutely everything for them, and they now the hub. They are now receiving a rental income of approximately $870. So $870 for a 2-bedroom apartment in the Gold Coast. Rents are going up incredible, but it at that time, which was about 16 months, about 40 months ago,
14 months.
It was
getting
amazing.
800 and how much?
$870.
$870. And what did they pay for the property?
$585,000. So
$585. So I think that's about a
it's about over a 7%.
7.5% return. And it is so hard. And that 7.5% return plus the 10% they get on the capital growth, that's 17.5%.
Correct.
So that is just, I mean, when I got this property, I was only getting a 3% rental return, which I still thought I'm getting my capital growth too. So I'm okay with that. I'm actually okay with smaller returns because I'm getting the capital growth. As an accountant, I still know it's a great investment. But that, when I heard that, I said, are there any more units?
Exactly. And that I guess that silver lining is that rental prices in that area not only the vacancy rate is just almost less than 1%, so it's almost nothing available. So being close to university, being close to shopping centers and hospitals and etc. The silver lining is that even though we experience higher interest rates in the last 12 or 13 months, they still manage to be very comfortable because of that really strong rental return. So this is the kind of things that investors do with us, with a team of property consultants as well, just research around the country so we can find this sort of solution for them.
And bearing in mind that interest on a investment property is tax deductible. So, yeah.
Correct.
Okay, so in terms of client experiences, me personally, I love hearing what others are saying. So this is from Alberto and Angelica. So investing in property was something we'd always dreamt of, but we were nervous about taking the leap. That's when we met Enrique and the team at Investor Property Solutions. They made everything seem so much less daunting. Enrique took the time to explain everything to us in simple terms, and he helped us to find a fantastic property that met all our needs. We felt so comfortable with the cash flow analysis and knew we were in safe hands every step of the way. We're thrilled with our rental yield, and we couldn't be more thankful to Enrique for his guidance and support. One from Daniel in Sydney, because Enrique works with Aussies all over the countries and he buys property for them all over the country. So Enrique has been an amazing consultant and mentor to me over the years. I first met him in 2016 when I was just starting to think about investing in property. He made the whole process seem simple and straightforward, and he helped me find my first investment property in Kelvin Grove. Since then, he's helped me secure a second property on the Gold Coast, and now we're planning to invest with our super funds next year. Enrique's knowledge and experience are truly second to none, and I couldn't recommend him more highly. From LCM in Melbourne, we were so thrilled when we found out we could use our super to invest in property, but the process seemed really daunting, and I get that. And we had no idea where to start. That's when a friend recommended Enrique to us. From the beginning, We knew we were in good hands. He explained everything in plain language and walked us through the entire process step by step. We were impressed by how knowledgeable he was and how well he coordinated all the different specialists we needed to make our investment a success. Thanks to Enrique and his team, we now have a fantastic addition to our property portfolio. We couldn't be happier. From Payo, we'd had a self-managed super fund set up for years, but we were always a bit intimidated by the idea of investing in property. We just didn't know enough about it to feel confident. That's when we found Enrique. From the moment we met him, we knew we were in good hands. He was patient and thorough, explaining everything in detail and answering all our questions in Spanish, which was a huge relief. He helped us find the perfect property for our budget and needs, and he made sure we understood all the costs up front. We've been thrilled with our investment ever since, and we're so grateful to Enrique for his expertise and support. So now, let's just talk about how we can help you. So we have a wait list which you can join, and to join that wait list, simply email hello@investorpropertysolutions.com.au. Investor is spelled with the star in it, STAR. So the next thing I'll let you know, I'm pretty sure that if you are watching the event, you'll be connected to us through the website with Enrique's phone number as well. But if you're able to send us an email, you can just make it subject line waitlist. Make sure that we've got your name, your email, your phone number, because demand for buying properties in super is growing. Our waitlist is growing. And so if you're keen, I recommend that you do join the waitlist now. Okay, that's going to put you kind of in the front of the queue or right up the top. And that way we can give you a call soon. Okay, because this is about our capacity. Now, we have had clients, or Enrique has had clients, when they come back to him a few months later and he says, oh, I don't have capacity right now. I'm not going to be able to call you back for a few months. Because he's already managing the projects for enough clients, and he manages his capacity very carefully so he can have you in a property in 12 weeks. Okay. Enrique said, it is simple, but it's not easy. And it does take, from end to end, it takes him 12 weeks to get everything done. Okay. So in terms of capacity right now, as at today's date, and when I'm recording this event, it's the 29th of May, 2024. Our capacity is that Enrique can give you a call within 7 days. Okay. But this can easily blow out to months, literally within a few days. We don't know. Capacity does change. Okay. We will always do our best to let you know what our capacity is at that time. However, if you jump on the wait list, at least you'll be in the line and we'll give you a call. So I really recommend you do that, because demand for buying property in super is growing. And there's a funny little thing I once heard about cryptocurrency, and I think it's true about investing in property with your super. And that was, when your Uber driver's talking about it, that you've missed the boat.
Right.
You know, now the Uber driver will be like, cryptocurrency, and we've all missed the boat. So I really recommend that you get in now, because demand is growing by just joining the wait list. Okay. So in terms of how we can connect, absolutely email us, and I'll throw to Enrique just to share the last parts with you.
I really thank you for your time in this very short but very to the point event. Something that I wanted to add that we probably didn't discuss is that one of the really good advantages and benefits of owning a property and keep it to your retirement is that if you decide to sell it on retirement stage after you're 60 years old, there is no capital gain taxes, and that's huge. So it's a huge savings on that way for your retirement. And the other one is that your rental income is also tax-free, zero. So
yes, once you retire.
That's right. So once you retire, you don't pay absolutely any taxes in your rental income. So those two benefits for me are enough to consider something like this as well. But look, it's really a matter of getting the information, giving me a call. I'll spend, about 10 minutes of your time just to make sure that you are eligible and provide exactly all the details that you need to move forward with me. So I leave it just like that. And I thank you, Jeannie, as well, for conducting this event the most graceful way. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys soon. Have a wonderful night. Thank you very much. Ciao, ciao.
My pleasure. Thanks. See you, everyone.
Bye.